What's up? Welcome to the Pats Chat Podcast. I'm Doug Kyde, joined as always by Michael Hurley. Michael, how are we doing on this Wednesday morning?
I'm great. I'm on a microphone.
Look at that microphone. You don't have to hold it. We're in good shape here.
Amazing.
No hands, Ma.
I have a desk.
Wow.
This is a real ragtag. We're like the Patriots of podcasting, but like the Patriots, like the Minutemen. We are just ragtag group of farmers getting our podcasts out here.
I have been reading a lot of books recently, and yeah, they did say that the Patriots back in the 1700s used like blue microphones and StreamYard and all these things to do their podcasts.
Their Audio Technica microphones grew a buzz, and they just had to hold it and absorb a certain amount of electroshock to do a podcast.
And they had wooden teeth. All right. Well, let's get into the Patriots, the football Patriots, not the 1700s Patriots. And I'd like to start where all football conversations should start, and that's with the quarterback. I know that you recently came out and said that you want to turn this into a Drake May podcast, or at least you had some hints of it.
Yeah. By the way, we can identify the internet problems, and it's you. So, I've clarified that because that was Sunday night. You're kind of going through your own thoughts. I'm not necessarily a Drake May, but I'm kind of all set with Jacoby Brissett. That's where I settled on.
That's fair. And I want to talk about Jacoby Brissett because the Patriots have had a hard time throwing the ball over the first 2 weeks of the season. And I think that after 2 weeks, you can kind of start to identify some of the issues. And I want to read off some numbers for you, or at least some rankings for you. So the Patriots have the second highest pressure rate in the NFL right now. Jacoby Brissett has faced the second most pressure out of 33 qualified quarterbacks. So right off the bat, you say, well, that's probably an offensive line issue, right? Because the Patriots offensive line is in shambles. They're probably about to start their third left tackle on Thursday night against the Jets. We've known basically since the spring that the offensive line would be an issue. So that's where you would kind of begin to identify that problem, right?
Yes.
But Jacoby Brissett has the third longest time in the pocket right now at over 3 seconds. So that's where you start to say, like, all right, the offensive line's an issue, but Jacoby Brissett's also holding the ball for too long right now, which is probably just compounding the issue with the offensive line, right?
Right.
But you say, okay, Jacoby Brissett's holding the ball for a long time. He's probably completing some long passes, right? Like he's probably using that time to allow his wide receivers to get downfield and then throw downfield.
Hit me with the air yards, Doug.
That is incorrect. He has the second lowest deep passing rate in the NFL. He has attempted 2 deep passes this season. He is one of 3 quarterbacks without a deep passing incompletion, and he ranks in like the mid 20s, right around like the 25 mark, with I believe it's a 6.7 air yards per attempt. So basically nothing is going well right now for the Patriots passing game. And you'd say to yourself, all right, maybe this is an offensive line issue. Maybe this is a Jacoby Brissett issue. I'll throw out 2 more at you. The Patriots are 21st right now in play action rate, and they are 30th in screen rate. So I think it's an everything issue because it's also a play calling issue. The Patriots run the ball so much, but then they're not really utilizing play action like they should. And they're really only throwing the ball when they have to, at which point they're saying like, well, we're not going to trick these guys with play action because they know that we have to throw the ball. They have to throw the ball in situations where they don't need to throw the ball. That's, I think, the big issue here. They need to actually fool defenses. They have to use play action. They have to use screens because they said they want to be the best screen team in the NFL. I think that just everything's broken right now. And maybe Thursday night is when they start to fix it, but it's also a short week and they haven't had a lot of time to actually put new things in or fix anything because they only had 1 walkthrough this week.
True. It's badass. Well, first of all, well done. Good prep. You win the show prep award for the week. It's badass when you can just say, they knew we were going to run it and we ran it down their throats anyway. That is badass as hell. But this is the NFL in 2024. Passing is sort of king. And that's an understatement. I was trying to look at my air yards and just the next gen stats won't even load for me. So I can't tack on, but I would agree. Play calling is not great. There are instances where, I mean, it's a hard job. We can admit being the quarterback of the Patriots right now is a hard job. He's handling it, as far as we can tell, better than the previous guy did, who just melted down and made it worse. Brissett hasn't necessarily made it worse by throwing stupid picks off his back foot and whatnot, but he's not really making plays to mitigate any of it, I think.
Yeah, and I kind of felt bad, but not really. Like, so on Tuesday, Jacoby Brissett spoke in his locker room, and I believe it was Megan Ottolini asked, like, Gerard Mayo said that you guys want to push the ball downfield. Has that been an emphasis this week? And he said, like, yeah, we have to do that. We have to push the ball downfield. We plan to. I have to get everyone involved. And then, like, a question or two later, I was like, is it an emphasis to get the ball out faster? And then he kind of stopped. He was like, well, she just asked. And then he was like, well, we're trying to do everything. And like, it is tough in that regard to be like, hey, can you both throw the ball downfield and get rid of the ball faster? But you should, in theory, be able to do both depending on what the play call is. And like, if you are trying to push the ball downfield, then yeah, absolutely, you have to hold on to the ball longer. But if you're not going to, if you're only going to throw short passes, then you have to get rid of it quickly. Otherwise, there's no threat whatsoever to the offense.
Right. And you can't say things like, I have trouble finding Demario Douglas because he's short. Because, again, we talked about this Sunday. There are routes. Like, there's plays, the drama. I've played Madden before. I've seen it. There, it tells you what its receiver's going to do, and the quarterback knows that. But that's one thing. And then the other thing, Doug, I have not watched every single snap of Jacoby Brissett's career. But I've watched plenty. Throwing the ball downfield is certainly not something that you would say is one of his strengths. Throwing a pass beyond 25 yards is not really, like, and we saw it in the preseason a couple times. He just airmail him out of bounds. It's not his game. He has limitations. That's the whole point of this whole conversation. And that's why, like, our brains go Drake May, and Drake May probably would do poorly behind this line with the way that they need to figure what they are before Drake May goes in. I get it. Mm-hmm. I guess what you saw Sunday out of my reaction and out of your reaction, out of a lot of people's reaction, was like, man, it was going to be tough sledding. That's really what it comes down to. And then you factor in that the line seems to be maybe trending the wrong way in terms of health and performance. That, yeah, I mean, we're a quarterback obsessed nation, I've always said, and they always get a lion's share, like, way too much credit and way too much blame. But it's as tough as we expected it to be to watch this play out.
It is. And I guess we can get into the offensive line right now, since we both alluded to it. Currently, obviously, the Patriots week 1 starting left tackle, not going to start in week 3 because he voluntarily left the team. He said, I'm good. Chukwuma Okorafor off the roster on the exempt list. Their week 2 starting left tackle, Vidarian Lowe, who actually also came into week 1 12 snaps in because Okorafor was playing poorly, also probably not going to play in this game. He injured his knee late in week 2. Patriots, as I mentioned before, had one walkthrough this week. He was not present for it. We saw him in the locker room on Tuesday night after the walkthrough. He had a big sleeve on his leg. Who knows? Like, Vidarian Lowe played most of week 1 after practicing like once that week. So it's still potentially in the cards that he could play this week. But if he doesn't,
that's a different injury, right?
It is, because it was an abdomen injury before. Now it's a knee injury.
Can we take a moment to say, being an offensive tackle in the NFL sucks? We might have been on this before. Like, man, those guys are so big. That's just the abuse their bodies take. We don't. All people say about tackles, like, that guy sucks. It's like, man, that life seems painful.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if you're one of the best, like David Bakhtiari, now you're like 30 years old and just sitting in free agency forever. So
you got to know too, like, do I get really skinny or do I stay at playing size?
Yeah, it's a difficult job. But now we might see Kaden Wallace, the Patriots' 3rd round pick, a human being who didn't play left tackle in college. He was a right tackle. The Patriots drafted him thinking, we think this guy's athletic enough to play left tackle. And they've really moved him from left to right, mostly right for most of the summer. So this is a big ask right now to now say, like, hey, man, sorry about this, but you kind of have to be our starting left tackle in week 3 against the Jets.
On the road, in prime time.
Right, on 3 days rest after you played some snaps at left tackle and jumbo tight end in week 2 against the Seahawks. And Jets defensive line has been weakened by injuries, but it's still like an NFL defensive line that he's going to have to face off against. What's his name? Jermaine Johnson will not play. He tore his Achilles, but he's still going to have to deal with Michael Clemens, Will McDonald, Tech McKinley, and then also Quinnen Williams, also obviously on that defensive line. he's usually rushing from the interior, but these are just guys that the Patriots are going to have to deal with. And I don't know. It's just, we'll see what happens here. Maybe it winds up being a blessing in disguise. Maybe Kaden Wallace is good. Maybe he's better than Valerian Lowe. Maybe he's better than Shaquille Okorafor. It's not like the biggest ceiling to clear here.
True. I was doing I wanted to fact check myself before I said it. I thought 13th. Kaden Wallace was actually the 14th tackle taken in April.
14.
So to be starting week 3. Now, granted, the 12th was, Kingsley Suamada on the Chiefs, and he's starting for the best team in the league. So where you're drafted, not necessarily indicative of whether or not you can play, but fair to say some reasonable doubt as to whether or not that will be good for the Patriots.
Absolutely.
Thursday.
And, as I said, it's kind of a low bar to clear based on the tackle play so far this season. Valerian Lowe is held up as well as you could possibly humanly imagine, but it hasn't gone especially well so far. And then also City Sow still not practicing, so probably going to still see Michael Jordan there at left guard. These are just, we're getting
right guard's injured.
Right guard
injured.
Layden Robinson still dealing with an injury. David Andrews missed practice.
Right tackle coming off the worst game of his life.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I rewatched that after our last podcast, and he was on the ground 2 or 3 times, just really not what you want to see out of your highest paid offensive player. I think that he can improve here moving forward, but that was a concerning effort or maybe just a concerning performance, I guess I would say, from Mike Onwenu that absolutely needs to improve.
Yeah. So that's why, as much as we could sit here and we'll do our predictions later and be like, dude, they could win. They could go in there. The Jets are vulnerable. Every time I'm like, moving the ball. They can run block, apparently, but still with those injuries. And now it's Thursday night. Everyone's banged up. But I kind of lean, if I'm going into a game with 4 injured offensive linemen and the other one's healthy but had the worst game of his life.
Yeah.
I gotta be afraid of that offense doing much of anything.
I think Onwenu was also even on the injury report with a wrist injury. So it's
why not? Yeah.
Everyone's just banged up in some sort of way. Let's get into some news from this week as well, because this was kind of a newsy week for a short week. Jalen Reagor cut off the practice squad on Tuesday. This was after he very briefly posted a picture to his Instagram story of a Bugatti and a dilapidated carport, the meme that you see going around. And I thought the funniest element of this is that after he posted it, I think that Carlos, the guy who does a lot of Patriots aggregation, does a good job of that. After he posted and said hey, Jalen Reagor just put this in there, there was debates in the comments being like, oh, is he talking about Drake May? It's like, oh, poor Jalen Reagor. He was obviously clearly talking about himself, but people
there's no way
were like, he couldn't have been talking about himself, could he?
There's no way he thinks he's the Bugatti, right?
Yeah.
Do you know who was drafted one spot after Jalen Reagor?
Justin Jefferson was drafted one spot after.
And then
Jalen
4 or 5 spots after. You know who's drafted there?
Who?
Brandon Ayuk. And do you know who's drafted 10 to 15 spots later? T. Higgins.
Wow.
Tough. I mean, that was the 2020 draft. Everyone was guessing.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
But
it's tough. And I don't mean to laugh about it because
come on. If you can't laugh about that, Doug. You lost your job for posting memes. There's 2 people in the world Kurt Schilling and Jalen Reagor. You are the 2 people who lost your jobs because you just had to post a meme.
Yeah.
Don't post a meme.
And it wasn't shocking that all this happened because Jalen Reagor really was not in a good mood the day that he got cut and then re-signed to the practice squad right away. He didn't seem happy about that. Hasn't really seemed overly happy since. And I asked someone on the team, okay, was this just the social media post that got him cut? They're like, no, he's basically just been expressing this behind the scenes, similar frustrations or whatever. So this was all coming to a head anyway. It wasn't really sustainable for him to stay on the practice squad, given how he felt about himself and the team and everything like that. So now he gets a fresh start. And I mean, quite honestly, he was 8th on the Patriots wide receiver depth chart because there was the 6 guys on the roster. Then you've got Kendrick Bourne eligible to come back after week 4. There was just no serious path to playing time for Jalen Reagor. And we saw Jalen Reagor last year. We saw him throughout the summer. He wasn't going to come in here and turn this offense into the Kansas City Chiefs or anything like that.
He has over the past 2 seasons 15 catches. So, but wasn't he supposed to carve a role maybe as a kick returner? But I guess not. Marcus Jones is healthy enough.
Well, they're using Antonio Gibson, JaMychal Hasty as kick returners right now, and I think the kick return no one's returning kicks that much anyway. So I think they were probably it's not worth having him on the roster just to have a play where most people are going to be kicking into the end zone anyway.
I just feel like if I'm whoever called Jalen Reagor into that meeting, if I'm Elliot Wolf or if I'm Gerard Mayo, I have in a poster board size on an easel, just that tweet. And then on the next one, it's just the Pro Football Reference page, which shows the 2022 season when you played 17 games and caught 8 passes. And I'm just like, guy, you've tied my hands here. I can't keep you after the meme. You can't post the meme.
Yeah.
You can't post the meme.
Can't post a meme from the practice squad.
Does it show
when you're on a practice squad, all 31 other teams can sign you off of that practice squad
at any moment?
So like the carport's not just the Patriots carport, it's the carport of all 32 NFL teams who are keeping you in there as a Bugatti.
Maybe he aspires to be in the CFL and he just got the thing. I lost. Well, oh no. Do you think it signals like a sort of new era that we thought, not a new era, but we were like, oh, he's a player's coach. He's going to be a pushover compared to Bill. And now you have Judon shipped out and you have Reagor just dumped on a Tuesday. You can't get away with everything there, even if though people might have said that all summer.
I think it's a good sign. I do think it's a good sign that there's a certain amount of nonsense that the Patriots will not put up with. But I also think that, these are the kind of things that happen when you're a team with the talent level of the Patriots. I know that fans aren't used to this from the 2001 to 2019 eras, but when you're a 1-1 team who's almost certainly not going to make the playoffs, Chukwuma Okorafor leaves the team. Jalen Reagor posts a meme. Like, these are things that just you have to kind of get used to as a Patriots fan, that these are going to become more common now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You're the Browns.
So the other piece of news this week was that, unfortunately, linebacker Juwan Bentley suffered a torn biceps in week 2 against the Seahawks.
I thought it was a pec.
Oh, yeah. Let me check.
Fight.
You might be right.
Torn pec, because that's all I think of. That's got to be the most.
You're right. It's a pec. It's a pec. I'm sorry. It's a pec.
You ever think about that?
It's a pec.
Oh, man. You can't sleep. You can't walk. You can't, get a cup of water.
Yeah.
Oh,
really? And
that's why I don't exercise.
The amazing thing is that he played another snap, I believe, after that injury occurred. And that Juwan Bentley is so tough that apparently, it took an entire day for them to figure out that this was a torn pectoral. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And it really feels like fate or some sort of other being is just telling the Patriots, no, just stink this year. Just lose. Just get a good pick. Like the Christian Barmore blood clots. Now you've got the Juwan Bentley season-ending injury. It just feels like everything positive for this team is suddenly becoming a negative, and these guys are being lost for the season. And Michael Hurley is walking away from the microphone, and he's back. Don't worry. He got bombarded.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's another situation. Look, oh God, here's Emerson Latzia.
I can't hear you, but I look forward to talking to you on DraftKings Network tomorrow.
Wow. Look forward to talking to you as well, Emerson.
Too, Doug. Jesus.
Thank you, Emerson. That was Emerson Latzia from DraftKings WZLX morning show.
All right, we will appreciate it.
All right.
Telling the world that I'll be on DraftKings tomorrow night.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I'm sorry that you have to work with Emerson, by the way.
It's a handful. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
He wants to steal all my friends. He's competing. Doug's my best friend. He doesn't even like you, Hurley. It's a lot. But anyways, were you talking about Bentley?
Yeah, Bentley.
I mean, it's a season-long thing, so it's hard to go, how does it affect them this week? But you are facing one of the better running backs you'll deal with all year, right? So it's going to be a factor this week to start.
And I mean, it's not to the same level, in my opinion, to losing Christian Barmore or last year losing Christian Gonzalez, or maybe even losing a player like Matthew Judon, just because they affect so many different important things in the passing game. Juwan Bentley is certainly more of a force in the running game, but the Patriots can't get to the point where they can't stop the run, because then they're just completely screwed. They've got Raekwon McMillan to fill in for Juwan Bentley. I think he can do some similar things to Juwan Bentley. Doesn't bring the leadership, doesn't bring the experience in the defense. It's certainly a drop off there. There is the advantage, though, that after week 4, Sione Takitaki can come back. It's a drop off, but it's not, let's say, as precipitous of a drop off as it is from Christian Barmore to Daniel Ekuale.
Here's my the way I would summarize it, and remember, I'm the football expert on this podcast now, not you. Because it's not highlight type play stuff when you stuff a run at the line of scrimmage, but instead of 2nd and 9, the Patriots defense might be facing 2nd and 6.
Right.
And over time, that is significant. That does lead to 3rd and 2s instead of 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s. So I feel like it's harder to quantify necessarily the loss of a run stuffer, but it takes a toll, and it makes the overall job hard. And like, he's not a budding star like Christian Barmore. It's not like losing that type of player, but I do think the incremental loss, despite the names that you bring up that can fill to a certain degree, you'll never fill it. You'll plug it, and it makes the defense that we thought could win some games. It makes that task, I don't know, 8 to 10% harder.
Right.
How's that?
I think that's accurate to say. And I just do want to say Raekwon McMillan, first of all, great guy. And obviously no player wants to have more playing time due to a player's injury. But like, if anyone deserves it, it's Raekwon McMillan, because he missed his rookie season with a torn ACL. He then came to the Patriots in 2021 and suffered a torn ACL in training camp. And then in 2023, he suffered a torn Achilles in OTAs. So, and the one his rookie year, he suffered in preseason. So he has missed 3 entire seasons with these terrible season-long injuries. And I'm just excited for him to get this opportunity to show what he can do on a full-time basis as a starter. We'll see how it goes for him, but it's at least a good story.
And among Wu-Tang members to be named after, I think Raekwon has to rank very highly. Like, you don't want to go through life as old dirty bastard McMillan. Method Man McMillan would be strange. RZA Jizza. It's hard when you call in an order like, oh, that's RZA McMillan. Like, Raekwon is, you have to spell it, but at least it sounds like a name.
It's strong, 100%. I'm with you on that one.
Inspector Deck McMillan would have been pretty cool.
That would have been pretty cool. That would have been maybe an upgrade there.
Yeah.
I was looking at the Patriots schedule, as one does, to get on our next topic here. And I sort of feel like there's more winnable games now than even you might have looked at. I don't know. I mean, like, you predicted them for like 10 wins. So maybe no one could be more optimistic about this Patriots team than you. But just going through the schedule real quick, we'll give our predictions for the Jets.
Hold on. To be real clear, I established that became sort of a joke that I lost control of. However, I will take
Don't
credit
lose your job over a meme though, Michael. Okay.
I know, but so when they were going to win Sunday, I was prepping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I was going to have 2 X's on 1 and 2, but alas, I don't really believe that. But I want credit if it works out. I want the best of both worlds.
So just to do this experiment again, because you did it earlier, I like this Jets game coming up. At the very least, I think we could probably agree that it's winnable, just given the circumstances, given some of the Jets' issues. Even with Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel potentially out in week 4, we know McCaffrey's not playing. We don't know about Deebo. I don't view that week 4 game against the 49ers as being winnable. But
I don't either, but it's a lot different than it did. I mean, they looked like ass against Minnesota.
They did look like ass against Minnesota. You're 100% right on that. And, you know, yeah, absolutely. They could look like ass once again against the Patriots. But realistically, that one, so now you're probably predicting them for like 11 wins if they win against the 49ers. But
and now you got both Dolphins wins because Skylar Thompson sucks.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Week 5, you've got the Dolphins with Skylar Thompson starting. We know that Skylar Thompson's starting that game, or someone other than Tua is, because he's on IR now. So Skylar that's 100% winnable.
He started a game in Foxborough once, right? I feel like I went into one of those and it was like, oof.
Yeah, I believe so.
2 years ago, probably, when Tua was out.
But end of the year. That's a home game against Miami with Skylar Thompson. Like, they should win that one.
Yeah. And then they go to London and they get the Jaguars, who are ass.
Well, you skip the Texans. The Texans not going to win that one probably.
Yeah.
But Jaguars look arguably worse than the Patriots so far this season, right?
Not arguably.
So that's a potential win.
Yeah.
Then they've got the Jets again at home in week 8. We'll see how this matchup goes before we make any determinations there. Titans look worse than the Patriots. That's a game in week 9.
Our ass.
The Bears look like garbage with Caleb Williams at quarterback. Dude. He might be better by that point, but like, they are nowhere near as good as people thought they would be.
Would he take 7 sacks on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, he's been the Rams in week 11. That game's at home.
Sneaky
Rams
ass.
haven't looked good.
Sneaky ass. 0-2. right? 0-2.
Dolphins in week 12. Tua might be the quarterback at that point. We'll see. But if Skylar Thompson's still in there, definitely a winnable game. Colts week 13 look very bad so far. That's another winnable game. Cardinals have been kind of up and down. I think that at the very least, that's potentially winnable. Bills week 16, probably not going to win. Chargers week 17, we'll see. And then Bills week 18. I wasn't counting the wins there, but like it feels like there's a lot of potential wins in a schedule that 3 weeks ago people were saying was the toughest schedule in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately comes down to if the Patriots offensive line can figure it out, because all these games you can talk about on these large scales, and I said it about this week already.
Yeah.
It's just sort of the sobering reality check, like, oh, that's not going to happen. So that's where it will be decided. But you're right. Some of us visionaries, luminaries, heroes, some would say, looked at the schedule and said everything you just said, but we just said it a month ago because, I don't know, some of us are just built different.
Just more prescient than most of us. But I would also argue that, like, if those games are winnable, and let's say the Patriots do win them, week 2 loss to Seahawks is just tough. Like, that was a very winnable game that they let slip completely out of their hands in a number of different ways. But they should have won that game. And if they're sitting with like 8 wins or whatever it is at the end of the season, which I still don't think is going to happen, but at least looks possible at this point, you might be cursing yourself if that game against the Seahawks is the difference between, let's say, like making the wild card or not. And I don't like, even if they make the wild card, which once again, I don't expect to happen, but even if they do, like, obviously they're not going to win a Super Bowl or anything, but I don't know. I just, that week 2 loss to the Seahawks could wind up feeling worse as the season goes along.
They blew it. And I'll tell you, if you're the guiding the ship, but I feel like this is a good time to go to this week. And what I think is a factor in that I'm looking at the Jets, and I know it's only a couple games, and I know Breece Hall is an excellent running back, and Garrett Wilson, I think, is one of the best receivers in the league. I say that because of the quarterbacks he's worked with and the production he's had. It's Mike Evans-esque that you can get that kind of production. But I'm looking today at the secondary options behind that, and I think that's where, if the Patriots are going to win this game, it's going to be because the Jets, after those two guys, they really don't scare you. Like, Alan Lazard is the second leading receiver, and then there's nobody. And then you have, Ty Conklin has two catches at tight end. They certainly have room to grow with Aaron Rodgers back there. But when you just look at the names of the guys, it's Garrett Wilson and then everybody else. So as if Christian Gonzalez can lock him down, and if I'm the Patriots, I'm not taking him off him for a single snap because we might give up a 56-yard touchdown for no reason, then this is going to be a rock fight. This is going to be, gambling corner. Love the under because scoring for both teams is going to be difficult.
Yeah, it will. They have Mike Williams on their roster, but he is still coming back from injury. They're kind of slow rolling him out there. So it is Alan Lazard is their number 2 wide receiver, but I think we might see a little bit more of Mike Williams in this game.
Mike Williams is coming back from injury.
I know, that is shocking, right? And then Braylon Allen is their backup running back. I'm just going to give you a warning right now because I know that this might trigger you during the game. So I just want to get this out of the way. Braylon Allen is a running back who wears number 0. Okay. I want you to make you aware of this before the game so you don't see him out there and you say, who the hell is this guy wearing number 0? It is their backup running back, Braylon Allen. He's 20 years old.
Can we just grow up?
He's a running back.
Just grow up with that crap.
I tweeted about this, but Ray McLeod, the Falcons wide receiver, wearing number 34 for the Falcons. 34.
I like that. You know why?
Why?
You're sneaky fast now. All of a sudden, I'm going to put a linebacker on you, and then boom, gone. So I actually kind of like that from a tactical standpoint, even though aesthetically I'm with you. Ugly.
It's smart from a tactical standpoint, but this is me showing my age also. But like number 34 in the Falcons, I'm just like, that's Ray Buchanan. That's a cornerback. That's not Ray McLeod. What's that cornerback doing out there for the Falcons playing wide receiver?
Yeah, it's a brave new world, and we are slow to adapt.
Yes. But I agree with you on the whole about the Jets' offensive playmakers. The one thing that concerns me a little bit is that, as you mentioned, ideally you want Christian Gonzalez against Garrett Wilson because he is far and away their best wide receiver. The thing that worries me a bit is that Alan Lazard is 6'5", and Mike Williams is 6'4", and the Patriots' other cornerbacks are 5'9" Jonathan Jones and 5'8" Marcus Jones. Marcus Jones is in the slot. Alan Lazard is kind of their slot receiver. You might see 6'5" against 5'8", like almost a foot difference in that matchup. And at a certain point, like even Gerard Mayo said this, like at a certain point, like one set of parents is just taller than the other one, and you just don't have that advantage as a player. And that's what Marcus Jones faces in this game. So for me personally, Patriots have been putting Marco Wilson out there when they want to give Jonathan Jones a break, kind of spell him a little bit. I think this is a good game to see what Alex Austin can do, because Alex Austin is at least 6'1". He can at least match up with these guys a little bit better than Marco Wilson, who's 5'11", I believe. It's not the biggest difference, but like with the issues that Marco Wilson has had with defensive pass interference as well, it just feels like this is a good game for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm less worried about it, but it's a fair consideration. I would, again, to reiterate, every single snap, Gonzalez on Wilson. Every single snap. There's just no reason to figure it, just the way they used to play with Gilmore. Yeah. That's his job. And then 10 other guys play a defense with calls and with schemes and with blitzes and with all sorts of variations, except for those two. It's a 10-man defense.
Absolutely. And while talking about some of the Jets' deficiencies here, as we mentioned, Jermaine Johnson, torn Achilles, he will not be playing this game. CJ Mosley also, toe injury, and has not practiced on Monday or Tuesday.
I had that game on the red zone and saw him going off on the cart, and immediately it's like, well, Ramondre's going to have a day.
Yeah.
Because Mosley's one of those, he's a Belichick guy. Like if you ask Belichick about Mosley, he'll go on for half an hour, and with good reason. He is like an old school.
Yeah.
He's from a different era. So, yeah, for as much as we focus on the Patriots injuries, the Jets are banged up as well.
Absolutely. We're going to get out of here soon. All right, so let's get into our predictions. You labeled these as our dead-ass predictions because
dead-ass accurate.
Dead-ass accurate predictions because you're a cool Zoomer. So what's your prediction for this game? I'll open the floor to you.
I don't love points. I like Stevenson again to get most of the workload. I think the Patriots will target Demario Douglas a few times, some quick passes where maybe he can catch him like a wide receiver screen. That way line of vision is not blocked from the quarterback. But ultimately, what gives me the biggest pause, two things. The Patriots offensive line being bad and injured, and the way Geno Smith carved them up. Like he figured them out, and he very easily threw for the most yards of anyone last week in the NFL. So I think Aaron Rodgers is a slightly more intellectual quarterback than Geno Smith. He's got some more experience. So I think ultimately second half, Aaron Rodgers in the offense will move the ball enough to score. Like, I think this is like a 17-13 Jets win. Tough one to watch. Al Michaels will be bitter. That's what I'll predict.
Yeah, me and you were just on the same wavelength way too often, because I had, for this entire podcast, I've been thinking 16-13 Jets win. And then like literally as you were speaking, I was like, maybe they do score 2 touchdowns and maybe it's 17-13. But just to switch things up.
No. Let's go in with a unified prediction.
All in on 17-13. All right, we're going all in.
It's the Pats chat guarantee.
Jets win 17-13. Patriots have had a really hard time getting in the end zone, in the red zone. So it definitely would not shock me if they only wind up with 1 touchdown and 2 field goals. I think the Jets can get into the end zone a couple times. I don't think this is the greatest game in the world for Aaron Rodgers. You want a prediction? I think Jacoby Brissett cracks 200 yards in this game. By hell or high water.
Now we've got controversy, buddy. I think I said last week, and I don't really bet. I wanted to bet the under on his yards last week, and what did he throw? 149?
I think, I'm also going to say that it comes probably with a turnover, because I think they're going to force it a little bit in this game. Because I don't think they want, I don't think they're going to be influenced by the outside noise and everything like that. But I also think at a certain point, you're like, I don't want to keep getting asked about downfield passing. I don't want to keep getting asked why wide receivers aren't getting the ball. Jalen Polk, Patriots rookie wide receiver, has the highest wide receiver win rate among rookie wide receivers, and he's been targeted like 3 times. Yeah. So I think you want to start getting him the ball maybe that helps you push over that 200 mark. But I think that they force it a little bit in this game because I do think that it's a storyline that's just going to build and build and build.
And it's not just outside noise; it's inside noise. Demario Douglas making noise, Jalen Reagor making noise. So it's not as
even
if
Gerard Mayo saying, "I want to push the ball downfield."
Yeah,
it's
so
like their
yeah.
head coach is making the noise. Yeah,
It's not like Doug Kyde and Megan Onalidi making changes in Alex Van Pelt's approach. It's a team-wide. It's obvious. So you're probably right. It's a short week. I don't know how much you can sneak in there in it with your walkthroughs and your travel, but yeah, low expectations. We were pretty right last week. We were like, probably be pretty close, but maybe the Seahawks get the edge. So we are really good at predicting things. And you had the Bengals in week 1, as you know. You just didn't tell anyone.
Just didn't say it publicly. What was it? My score prediction last week was 14-13, which the score actually was at one point. The Seahawks were winning 14-13. I was like, everyone just stops everything, then I'll be right. But they didn't do that.
Yeah, here's a little warning for you as you work with Emerson tomorrow. His prediction on our show for Seahawks Patriots was 23-20 Seahawks win, which he got on the nose. Unfortunately, it was one of like 10 bets, and it's the only one he hit. But he will tell you about it tomorrow. So just to get you ready, make sure you know. Be like, how'd your other bets do?
Oh, God. Yeah. All right. Well, I got to work with Emerson tomorrow. That'll be fun. Catch me on DraftKings. Catch Michael on WZLX every weekday morning.
I'm just looking now. I should have checked the board levels beforehand, but I think I'm good. But like, I could have been a little bit louder, I think, next time.
I think StreamYard fixes these things. Listen, at a certain point, as we've said, there's too much technology. I think we're at that point right now.
And this is my second apology to anyone who's listened. I can't hear myself. And I also had things jammed up my nose yesterday to stop my nosebleeds. Like it was unpleasant. So I feel like I've been breathing like a horse this whole time. And I've been trying to step away from the mic, but I guarantee you there's times where I got stuck here like, so I do apologize if you powered through that. I'll never do it again.
I have my window open in my office. So if you heard car noise, I apologize for that as well.
Nope.
But it seems like we didn't.
You're good.
All right. Well, subscribe to the Pats Chat podcast. And I implore you, give us a rating or a review, do all those things. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, all those good places. All right. We will talk to you guys again Michael and I haven't even talked about this, but I believe Friday morning we will be podcasting again.
We're going to try after the 17-13 loss.
After the 17-13 loss, I will be in a hotel room in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And Michael will be where he is right now, I think.
I'm doing a virtual background, though. I'm telling you, I'm going to find a good one. Maybe an Insane Clown Posse concert.
Maybe like just the swamps of New Jersey. Pretend you're there.
True. I'm a big Sopranos guy, so.
All right. Well,
many options.
We will talk to you guys again soon. Goodbye.